Yo, what's up everybody, it's Fright Delight, and let's talk about Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, made in 1995. This is when movies like Seven, Demon Knight, and It Takes Two were made. It's pretty much Parent Trap with the Olsen twins. Anyways, Halloween 6 is about Michael returning to Haddonfield 6 years later to finish off the last of the family bloodline after Jamie gives birth to her son Steven. From what I understand, the general reception of the film is that on one end, the editing was next to nauseating. This felt more generic than the last sequels, and the storyline didn't make sense, making you feel like you never really knew what the movie was about. On the other hand, some of the positives I've seen for the film is that the kill scenes make Michael more terrifying. The movie does a great job at creating atmosphere, and the acting was amazing, especially Paul Rudd and Donald Pleasence. RIP to my man DP, by the way. This is one of the last roles he's ever played, and I can't thank him enough for it. His presence alone increases this at least a point for me. Now homies, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I fell asleep 3 different times while trying to get through this movie, but my rating does not reflect that at all. And you'll hear my reasoning after I recap the movie, give my thoughts and opinions in between, then end it off with a tier list. Now let's stop playing and go back to Haddonfield for a 5th time. Damn Michael, you ain't tired yet? The movie starts off 6 years after the events of the last film, with a pregnant Jamie being taken down this secret cult facility to have a baby by the essence of evil. Once her child is delivered, he's named Steven, and they're taken by this mysterious man, and immediately we find out it's a boy by showing a naked child on screen. This was actually pretty insane to me, because out of all the horror movies I've seen, this was the first one to have a naked baby on screen, baby dick and all. And not even a Serbian film had that, and that movie had some shit in it. Anyway, sometime later, while Jamie is dreaming, a nurse that's low-key the MVP wakes her up and helps her get out of there with the child. Michael Myers is right on their tail, and the nurse gets Jamie out just in time, but couldn't get herself out, getting caught up by Michael Myers minutes later. In this scene, there's 2 different soundtracks that play, and both are equally boo-boo if you ask me. The theatrical cut that has a theme without the original tune, which is like shooting yourself in both feet. In a producer's cut, it's the original theme, but sounds like somebody added auto-tune to it, making it hit my ear the wrong way. Jamie and her newborn son is about to get out of there, get into a truck, and is about to pull off, but tries to warn the shift worker that Michael's coming. He can't hear through the rain and gets cooked right there. Jamie ends up dipping out, making her way to some type of building and uses a payphone. While she's making the call, we catch up with the legend himself for the last time in the franchise, my man Sam Loomis. He's retired now, but writes sex stories on the side. Well, I'm just kidding. He does get a knock at the door, and when he answers, it's an old friend, Dr. Terrence. The two catch up, and that's when Terrence tells Loomis that he's retiring and wants him to take over at Smith's Grove. If I was Loomis, I would have showed his ass the door, talking about, you want me to come out of retirement so you can retire? Hell no. And my old ass might have to deal with Michael Myers again? Oh no. Well, Loomis does tell him that he doesn't want to be in the field anymore, especially since he's gotten into writing erotic novels. Just as Terrence is about to rebuttal, they hear a familiar voice on the radio show calling out to Loomis asking for help. I'm not sure how Jamie got a hold of the station that easily, but I'll roll with it. She says Michael is back, then hangs up and goes to the bathroom to have a moment with her son before driving off to another location. As she drives away, Michael follows behind her and rams right into the back of the Chevy. Jamie crashes into the farm, taking a few to gather herself, then makes her way to the barn and waits for Michael. It doesn't take long for him to catch up to Jamie and end her life on the spot. He then walks towards the truck to end little Steven's life, but quickly realizes he got duped. We transition into the next day at the Myers house, where we meet one of the main characters, Cara, her brother Tim, her mom Deborah, and her asshole father John. As soon as he comes in the kitchen, everyone goes from smiles to sadness. He starts talking shit, especially when he sees Cara getting some cash from her mom.
Hey, Ryan, I got a great idea. Here, why don't you give her all of our goddamn money?
Cara isn't taking the disrespect anymore and stands up to him, but he slaps her with a backhand like a pimp named Slickback. Cara's son Danny isn't feeling that one bit and is about to drop him Michael Myers style. Cara stops him, then sends him off to the school bus right before she gets picked up by her friend Beth. As they drive off, Cara looks up in disbelief like, what the hell is that? Is that Ant-Man? Well, she doesn't say that, but she does notice him staring at her like he's invisible. And this is when we find out he's Tommy Doyle, all grown up. He's listening to a recording of the radio show from the night before and overhears Jamie calling for help. Tommy gets the idea to make his way to the same bus station Jamie was at. When he gets there, he notices blood near the phone booth and follows the trail to the bathroom. It leads him to the cabinet where he finds baby Steven, the last of the Myers bloodline. On the other side of town, Loomis finds the aftermath of what happened to Jamie. As he gathers himself, another one of these non-believing ass cops tells Loomis to go away and stay out of town. Of course he doesn't listen, making his way to the hospital where Jamie was taken. Apparently she's still alive. As he waits in the lobby, Tommy conveniently walks into the same hospital trying to find a doctor doctor. He asks the front desk, but the lady is no help, so he walks to the lobby, causing her to call security. Tommy runs into Loomis and tells him that Jamie isn't the last of the bloodline, then adds a little more stress to this old man's heart by telling him there's a family that lives in the Myers house too. Right before security comes, he tells Loomis to meet him at the campus rally later that night and dips out of there. Tommy gets back to his house and takes care of baby Steven while Loomis introduces himself to Deborah in the weirdest way possible.
I'm very sorry, Mrs. Strode. Is everything all right?
Hell no, who are you and how'd you get in my house? Knowing Loomis, he probably kept an old spare key after all these years. Deborah doesn't seem that fazed at all and has a sit-down convo with him. Loomis tells her the history of the Myers house and begs her to get her family out of there. After he leaves, Deborah gets in contact with John, telling him her and the kids are gonna dip out of there until she can figure out what's going on.
I'm getting the children out of here, at least until I know what's going on.
Damn, Deborah, I just said that. Say something I didn't already tell the—
You knew. And you didn't tell us, John.
Damn, Deborah, you didn't have to interrupt me too. Anyways, after she hangs up, she gets spooked a bit by packing her bags and trying to get out of there quick. As she rushes downstairs, she gets a call through the landline. When she answers, a demonic voice tells her that they want the baby. Deborah drops the phone and doesn't waste any time trying to skedaddle out of there. She gets outside running through the clothesline and is stopped by a damn fence. See, she wasn't scared for real. Deborah trips, falls, and then drops her glasses. Michael's nice enough to let her put them back on before giving her an up close and personal look at the axe. Damn, Deborah. Later that same day, Danny is walking back home from school when he catches a glimpse of the mysterious man next to a van that might as well say I kidnap people. Luckily, Tommy is there to walk him back home. As that's going on, Cara makes her way back. She walks in Danny's room, finding Tommy chilling like nothing's weird about this scene. First, Loomis gets into the crib. Now Tommy, they need better security. It turns out Danny let him in, but they don't stay for long. He tells her that they're in danger before they all head to Tommy's house later that night. It's a good thing too, because Michael's in the shadows waiting to catch him lacking. They all get inside, passing by Miss Blankenship, the owner of the house, but she doesn't say much. Tommy lets Tara know the lore of Michael Myers and the cult he's been a part of, which is called Thorn. Apparently, one child from each tribe is placed with the curse, and the only way to lift the curse is to sacrifice an entire family on Halloween night. He sniffs her a little as he tells her even though Michael isn't related to her by family, the fact that they live in the house is enough to be related to his knife. Tommy tells Cara to stay at his house while he meets up with Loomis. At the same time, we catch up with Jamie recovering at the hospital, having dreams of the torment she endured during her time with the cult. Before she can open her eyes, the mysterious man ends her life with the same gun Carl had on The Walking Dead. A little later that night, Loomis and Terrence walk into the crime scene. Loomis grieves, then talks to the doctor about what happened. He's told that Jamie wasn't gonna make it out with her condition, especially since she's given birth a little less than a day ago.
And the question is, where is the baby?
While that is a good question, there's just something untrustworthy about how you ask this, so I'll keep my eye on you for now. Loomis has a feeling he knows exactly where to look, so he heads off. And this is when we catch up with good-for-nothing John.
God damn it. She actually left.
The power goes out, causing him to make his way to the breaker. As he walks down to the basement, he comes across the washing machine still on somehow. He turns it off, then opens it, finding bloody sheets and presumably the remains of his wife Deborah. Michael takes his time to come out from the shadows and plugs John into the wall like a charger, killing him and then dipping off to the Halloween festival. It doesn't take long for him to get there and make quick work of the radio host that's broadcasted Jamie the night before. I'm not sure he had enough time to hang him up on a tree with all those people around, but Tommy's the one to find the end result of Michael's decoration. Loomis catches up in time to find Tommy at the murder scene too. While they make their way back to the crib, Tim and Beth are getting freaky back at the Myers house. They finish up, then Tim goes and gets in the shower to clean himself. When he gets out, Michael's nice enough to hand him a towel so he can dry off his face and look at himself getting killed in the mirror. Cara's sixth sense goes off and she checks the house using Tommy's camera, then calls the house when she sees Beth. As soon as Beth answers the phone, Michael plunges a knife in her back. Cara doesn't have enough time to grieve because her son Danny chooses now of all times to be adventurous. She rushes into the Myers house after him without a second thought. She creeps upstairs, walking into the room, uncovering her dead brother and friend. While in distress, she finds Danny in the room right across from her. It appears he was in some sort of trance, and by the time she realizes it, Michael's already behind her. She gets Danny to run out of there while she tries to escape another way. Loomis and Tommy pull up as Michael's right on her tail. He took a hidden weapon out of Deborah's body like people take food out of a cabinet. He continues to chase Cara until she surprise attacks him, disabling him long enough to get out of the house with Danny. They get to Tommy's house and panic, banging on the door to be let in. Loomis opens it and lets them in just before Michael can get a hold of the two. Tommy tells everyone and presses Loomis about the baby because he was the only one that knew where baby Steven was. Loomis immediately says, hell no, it wasn't me. I wasn't the one that did that. The camera pans up and we see Terrence with the top hat on. See? I knew this man was untrustworthy from his chin structure. Now, how he was able to infiltrate the crib is beyond me. The only thing I could think of is he came with Loomis in the fit, but he didn't have the top hat until Cara got there. Anyways, Terrence has his minions hold everyone at fist point, I'm guessing, but Cara is able to get upstairs. Unfortunately, Miss Blankenship from earlier in the film was in on it too. The funniest thing in the film to me is that Cara said fuck the baby and everything going on, then jumps out the window, and it's revealed seconds later that she was abducted by the cult to have a child of evil. How Tommy and Loomis were not only able to get away but make it to the facility where evil happens is beyond me, but they make it there with Loomis locked and loaded. Loomis tells Tommy to stay put while he handles what's going on like he does in almost every movie, then meets up with Terrence. When they meet up, they exchange dialogue for a short bit, then Terrence doesn't wait long before he has his homie pistol whip Loomis in the back of the head. Terrence walks off, and in that time, Tommy of course leaves the spot Loomis told him to stay put at and finds the lair where Cara is. Terrence makes his way there, then commences a ritual that doesn't go well. When Tommy puts a knife to his neck, this allows Cara and the baby to get out of there while Tommy holds them back. Nothing can get Tommy to budge until Michael pops out like Damon from Friday After Next. When all hope seems lost for the crew, Tommy tries to summon in jutsu, and of course that doesn't work, but my man Loomis comes through and blasts the security panel for the two to escape. Well, I'll be damned. It actually works, making Michael let go of Tommy. Well, Tommy doesn't let this opportunity pass and slides out of there with the rest of the crew. Now, depending on which version you watch, Loomis stays behind attempting to take care of Michael, but gets the curse placed on him by a dying Terrence as he lets out a horrific scream, ending the movie. Alright homies, that was the end of Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, a film that in my opinion added too much unnecessary lore to the horror icon. Now, I've seen both the theatrical and the producer's cut, which are almost two different movies, but most of my positives and negatives are geared towards the theatrical release, so keep that in mind. So to start with some of the positives first, Loomis was as great as always, even though a few of the scenes he looked kinda lost in. It does make sense though because he was having health issues during the time of production. It's amazing how he was still one of the best parts in the film, adding range to a dull cast. And yes, that includes Paul Rudd too, even though it's his first film. Another positive I have for the movie is the brutal kills we get. Every time Michael is on screen, I had a sense of impending doom, and even though this could be said about all the other iterations, Michael seemed a bit more cruel with his kills, especially when he took out Jamie in the theatrical cut. And my last positive for the film isn't that big of a positive. It just threw me off guard, and that's when Cara jumped out the window to save herself. I know it's a small scene, but I love when movies make me feel like the characters are acting as if they're making their own decisions, and this reminded me of when Roger jumped out of the window of Night of the Demons.
You won't get me!
Even though it wasn't the main draw of the movie, it's my favorite part of the film because of how everything plays out. And the girl jumped from the second story too, like she could fly or something, and it was just funny though. Next is moving on to the negatives, starting with the soundtrack. Now homies, like I said earlier, I seen both the original and the producer's cut of this film, and both soundtracks were equally awful to my ears. The original theme was used with a slight remix that included a higher pitch that didn't hit my ear the right way at all. And in the theatrical release, they had the nerve to not even include the original theme. Instead, they went with something I would expect from the Friday the 13th franchise. My next negative is the Thorn storyline itself. While I appreciate the attempt at a different story and explanation of Michael's evil, I just don't think it was necessary. Also, it makes Michael seem less scary because it makes him seem like he can be controlled by anyone with the thorn symbol. He isn't the mysterious shape anymore, he's just a dude in the mask that doesn't even make his own decisions. And when I think about it, how the cult of Thorn is explained makes Michael seem more like a victim under the control of a higher power, which doesn't sit well with me. Another negative I have for the film is the editing. The flash cuts never worked for me, and the only time it does is in the Saw franchise. The film starts off with awful editing when Jamie is giving birth in the hidden facility, and that's just the start. There are other weird editing choices the film went with that strain me visually. It's a good thing this was fixed in the producer's cut, but what I experienced should have never seen the light of day. And my final negative for the film is the fake jump scares. Up until this point, the Halloween franchise never relied heavily on the jump scares from what I've seen. It relied on the ambiguity of the darkness, not knowing if Michael's in the shadows or not. So when I see fake jump scares and unnecessary loud sounds, it makes me roll my eyes. And that's just not with this film, that's with any other horror movie too. How the scares were portrayed in this film made this movie feel like a Friday the 13th film more than any of the other films in the franchise. It seemed like they were trying to copy the copycat. So with all that being said, even though I fell asleep 3 different times watching this movie, I'm still gonna put this at a good time with alcohol, simply because when I was up, the film did give me a bit of unintentional laughter that I won't forget, especially alongside the gory kills Michael produced. Well homies, if you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for making it this far. Let me know what you thought about Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers in the comments below, even if you disagree with me. And if you enjoyed this video and have any other movies that you want me to cover in the future, put that in the comments below too. Go ahead and take that like and subscribe button and have feel for me to see more reviews like this one. And I appreciate y'all coming to a Fright Delight. I'll catch y'all later. Peace.